Well, greetings everyone and welcome to another edition of Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and happy Black History Month of 2022. And man, I would be doing a disservice. I've already waited too long as it is, but I'll be doing a disservice if I do not dedicate a show to a pioneer, to a trailblazer, to one of the greatest thespians of our time, and that is the late, great Sidney Poitier. And I was going to do this show when he first passed away, the beginning of this year, on the 6th of January to be exact. But I said, that would be a great introduction into Black History Month if I talk about this Black icon that he was, man. I mean, what can you not say about Sidney Poitier? I mean, aside from his work on screen, whether it's in front of the camera or even behind, the man had done wonders for the Black community, and I'm grateful for all that he has done in on his short time on this earth when he passed away at the ripe young age of 94 years of age. And man, the dude was just awesome. I'm I remember Sidney Poitier growing up. When I was born, I was past the Lily of the Fields and, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and In the Heat of the Nights and all that good stuff. But when I came along and blessed this planet with my presence, I was around for the Uptown Saturday Nights. I was around for Stir Crazy, and all those type of films. And, later on down the line, I found out about Sidney Poitier and all that he'd done throughout his career and life. And I was in awe. The dude was amazing. And we're going to touch in on some of his history. And then we're going to review one of his greatest films. One of his staples, his tour de force, if you will. And that is In the Heat of the Night. And there's a lot of history behind that too, but I'll get into that when we discuss the film. But Sidney Poitier, he was born February the 20th, and of 1927, and he passed away January the 26th, 2022. He was a Bohemian American actor. He was from Bahamas. Not only actor, but film director and diplomat. In 1963, he was the first Black actor and first Bohemian to win an Academy Award for Best Actor. He received two Golden Globe Awards, a British Academy of Film and Television Award, and a Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album. Poitier was one of the last major stars from the golden age of Hollywood cinema. Poitier's family lived in the Bahamas, then still a crown colony, but he was born unexpectedly in Miami, Florida, while they were visiting, which automatically granted him United States citizenship. He grew up in the Bahamas, but moved to Miami at the age of 15 and to New York City when he was 16. He joined the American Negro Theater, landing his breakthrough film role as a high school student in the film Blackboard Jungle in 1955. In 1958, Poitier starred with Tony Curtis as chained together escaped convicts in The Defiant Ones, which received 9 Academy Award nominations. Both actors received nominations for Best Actor, with Poitier being the first for a black actor. They both also had Best Actor nominations at the BAFTAs, with Poitier winning. In 1964, he won the Academy Award and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor for Lilies in the Field in 1963, playing a handyman helping a group of German-speaking nuns build a chapel. Poitier also received acclaim for Puggy and Betts in 1959, A Raisin in the Sun in 1961, and A Patch of Blue in 1965. He continued to break ground in 3 successful 1967 films, which dealt with issues of race and race relations. To Serve with Love, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and In the Heat of the Night, the latter of which won the Academy Award for Best Picture for that year. He received Golden Globe and BAFTA nominations for his performance in the last film, and in a poll the next year, he was voted as the United States' top box office star. Beginning in the 1970s, Poitier also directed various comedies, such as Stir Crazy in 1980, which starred Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, among other films. After nearly a decade away from acting, he returned to television and film, starring in Shoot to Kill in 1988 and Sneakers in 1992. Poitier was granted a knighthood by Queen Elizabeth II in 1974. In 1982, he received the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Award. In 1995, he received the Kennedy Center Honors. From 1997 to 2007, he was the Bohemian Ambassador to Japan. In 1999, he ranked 22nd among male actors on the 100 Years, 100 Stars list by the American Film Institute and received the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2002, he was given an honorary Academy Award in recognition for his remarkable accomplishments as an artist and as a human being. In 2009, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States, by then President Barack Obama. In 2016, he was honored at the BAFTA following for Outstanding Lifetime Achievement in Film. I mean, you can't argue with none of that. You can't argue with the fact that this man, everything he touched had significance, you know, except Ghost Dad. But I'll get into that when I break down his filmography. But he really did just shatter this door that you see Denzel Washington walking through, that you see Idris Elba walk through, that you see Michael B. Jordan, all these black actors walking through. He kicked it down. He didn't just kick it down. I mean, he destroyed it. He turned it into toothpicks, man. I mean, he just shattered that door. And we wouldn't have black cinema in the state that we have right now if it wasn't for Sidney Poitier. In Mr. Poitier's personal life, he was first married to Juanita Hardy, and from 1950 until 1965. Though Poitier became a resident of Mount Vernon, New York in 1956. They raised their family in a house on the Hudson River. In 1959, Poitier began a 9-year affair with actress Diane Carroll. He married Joanne, Shimska? I think it's Shimska, a Canadian actress who starred with Poitier in The Lost Man in 1969. On January the 23rd, 1976, and they remained married for the rest of his life until he passed away. He had 4 daughters with his first wife, Beverly, Pamela, Sherry, and Gina, and 2 with his second, Nika and Sidney. In addition to his 6 daughters, that's why I stopped at 2. With addition of his 6 daughters, Poitier has 8 grandchildren and 3 great grandchildren. Yeah, that was my fear. I love being a girl dad. Being a girl dad is awesome, but I couldn't match myself with 6 girls running around the house. I would have went crazy, but he did that. For that alone, he deserved a Presidential Medal of Honor. That is awesome, man. Kudos to him. But going back into his films, in the 60s, in the mid to late 60s, Poitier was being criticized for being typecast as over idolized African American characters who were not permitted to have any sexual or personal flaws, such as his character in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Poitier was aware of this pattern himself, but was conflicted on the matter. He wanted to have more meaty roles, but he felt obligated to set an example with his characters, by challenging old stereotypes, as he was the only major actor of African descent being cast in lead roles in the American film industry at that time. For instance, in 1966, he turned down the opportunity to play the lead in the NBC television production of Othello, the Shakespeare play, with that spirit in mind. So, despite this, many of the films in which Poitier starred during the 60s would later be cited as social thrillers by both filmmakers and critics alike. But you know what stands out about Sidney Poitier, to me, it's just me, as a black man and as a dark complected black man, and I always wanted to be, in movies and make movies and, star in movies, all that good stuff. And, I always felt that I couldn't because of my complexion. I couldn't, because Hollywood want this pretty dolled up black guy. Because, when I was growing up, all you saw was light-skinned black people. Even now, you see there's a lot of light-skinned black people. You don't see too many dark-complected black people on screen. It's more now, and I thank God for it, because it is, at one time, you didn't see dark-complected black people on movie screens. You just didn't, or on television. And Sidney Poitier was dark complected, and it was like a breath of fresh air for me to see this on screen, because I was like, oh man, it is possible, because I thought it was impossible for me to do it, and because I'm real conscious about my dark complexion, that's coming up and being bullied and picked on about it later on. Now I don't care. I'm still being called black and all this other stuff, but it don't bother me now. But when I was younger, yeah, that stuff used to bother me. I was real self-conscious about that. I was looking into bleaching my skin and stuff. But that was the young, immature me. Now I know black is sexy, and it started with Sidney Poitier. And Sidney Poitier, he didn't hide from it. I mean, he was who he was. I mean, I guess you couldn't hide it, but it wasn't about his looks. And I'm saying that, I'm not saying that he was a bad looking guy. Sidney Poitier was a nice looking fella, you know. But I'm saying this wasn't about how the prototypical black man, or for instance, see, now people look at Idris Elba. Now people look at Idris Elba as just the sexiest black man alive. And that wouldn't have been so 20, 30, hey, probably 10, I don't know, but 20, 30, 40 years ago, that wasn't the thing. A dark-skinned black man with this type of fanfare like that. But Sidney paved the way, bro. When I say he kicked open so many doors, he kicked open so many doors. It's really it really warms my heart. It really does. And it's something that may be trivial, something that y'all look at it and probably be like, well, I don't see what's so alluring about that. But to me, I'm talking personally, and personally for me, that mattered. That really did matter. It was awesome for somebody to be regarded as one of the film industry's greatest actors to be a black man. I mean, honestly, I don't care what race, creed, or whatever you are. You can look back through all the golden age of cinema. Sidney Poitier is in that mix, man. And when you start naming people, like Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, and who he starred with they was in the film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, coincidentally enough. But when you start naming names like that, Sidney Poitier is in there. A Sidney Poitier film, whether it's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, whether it's The Defiant Ones, which was the first film that I ever saw with him in it, that I knew who he was, because I didn't know what it was about. I think my dad was watching it, and he wanted me to see it, and I was like, why you want me to watch this movie? But it really was a good film. And for a while I couldn't stand Tony Curtis because of that movie, but it was a powerful film, and the movies that he was in were powerful films. Going back to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, that's supposed to be like a comedy, but it was a powerful film, and around that time, that is something that is unheard of, that type of movie. I was going to review that today, but I wanted to save that for another show, and I plan to do that in the near future. But In the Heat of the Night, he did something in there that has never been, at that time, was just like frowned upon, which was like blasphemy, man. You just don't do. And, why delay it? We're going to discuss it. Let's go into our review of In the Heat of the Night. And I know a lot of people out there remember the TV show from the 80s and 90s, or whenever it came out. But it was, with Carol O'Connor and oh man, blanking on his name. But anyways, he played Virgil Tibbs. But it was a good show. I remember that show. I think my mom still watch it. I went by her house a few days ago and she was watching that show on repeat. It still holds up to this day. But In the Heat of the Night, and I discovered it after the show, and because I didn't know there was a movie about that show was based on, which actually is based on a novel, but I didn't know. So it came on either Turner Movie Classics or something like that one day, and I sat down and I watched it when I was younger. And I'm like, man, this is a heavy movie. This is a heavy film. But In the Heat of the Night is a 1967 American mystery drama film directed by Norman Johnson, and it's based on the John Ball's 1965 novel of the same name. And it tells the story of Virgil Tibbs, a black police detective from Philadelphia, who becomes involved in a murder investigation in a small town in Mississippi. It stars Sidney Poitier and Rod Sturger, and is produced by Walter Marsh. At the 40th Academy Awards, the film was nominated for 7 Oscars, winning 5, including Best Picture and Best Actor for Sturger. The quote, "They call me Mr. Tibbs," was listed as number 16 on the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Movie Quotes, a list of top film quotes. The film also appears in American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Movies, a list of the 100 greatest movies in American cinema. In 2002, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically significant. It's one of those movies, man. It's one of those movies that's old as dirt, but holds up no matter when you watch it. If you turn it on now, you find a copy now and turn it on, it holds up. It still has the same impact that it did 50 years ago, whenever it came out. But like I said, when I saw it, and I was a young tyke, it had an impact on me. And it really had an impact for the simple fact that my parents come from Mississippi. They're from Mississippi. And so for them to kind of, amen, this is the type of stuff that happens in Mississippi, it made it real. I know, talking to my dad about it, he's like, man, this is I can see this happening. I can see this, and it's like, wow. So you're like, Sparta, Mississippi, where's that at? And it doesn't exist. Actually, Sparta, Mississippi does exist, but it's an unincorporated community in Mississippi, not too far from where my parents grew up. But it is not the Sparta, Mississippi that that is depicted in this film or in the television show. This film was actually filmed in Sparta, Illinois. And one of the reasons why it was filmed there was because Sidney Poitier, now the filmmaker, they wanted to go down to Mississippi and actually film this movie. Sidney Poitier did not want to go to the South due to around that time, Jim Crow, baby. He did not want to go down there and film in threat of probably being killed or hurt or anything, so they decided to film it in Illinois. And they filmed some scenes in Tennessee, but that's as far south as they went. He did not go actually into Mississippi to film this movie. And I completely understand. Around that time, they didn't care who you were. They didn't care if you were Sidney Poitier or the bus boy at the restaurant. You're getting lynched, which is still going on, people. Don't get it mistaken. You don't believe me? Ex George Floyd. That was a lynching. Anywho's, yes. I was intrigued because of the Mississippi element of it. Because I always felt like I was part Mississippian because both of my parents are from Mississippi. My siblings All my siblings are from Mississippi. They were born in Mississippi. I'm the only one out of the whole house that was actually born in Louisiana. Everybody else was born in Mississippi. And, I felt a kind of a disconnect there. So I kind of just adopted myself as a Mississippian, being as though Mississippi runs through my blood. But, it ain't like I never been. That was our vacation every summer. If there's a if you want to call that a vacation, we went there every year, to visit grandparents and stuff of that nature. So, it is a culture shock, coming from the city and then going to country. I mean, that's country. But anyways, back to the movie. This movie is it's difficult to watch at times. Depending on where your mindset is, it is something that you really got to sit back and be like, okay, you have to prepare yourself going into this. Because it's hard. It's hard because you can sit there and really see the racism just spill out over it, man. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, Sidney Poitier's character, Virgil Tibbs, he is a detective in the big city, in Philadelphia. And he just so happened to be going through this town. He's waiting on a train. And while he's waiting on the train, he gets arrested. Some sort. He gets arrested. And they find out that he's actually a policeman. And they just had a murder there. They find out he's a detective. And they need him to help. And he ends up helping. And at first he didn't want to help, because the white residents in Sparta were racist. All of them were racist. So he couldn't really conduct a thorough investigation because nobody was going to talk to this uppity Negro. And so it was that struggle. It was the scene that I was hinting at earlier. The scene when he was talking to, I believe he was the mayor, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember what he was. I think he was the mayor or some bigwig. And they went in to talk to him. And he didn't want to talk to Tibbs. And they going back and forth verbally, and you tell he's getting frustrated because who is he talking back to me? What is because he ain't used to this. And he slaps Sidney Poitier's character, and he slaps him back. It was like, man, hit me, I'm gonna hit you. And that was that character he brought to the screen. And I could just imagine being alive around that time and watching this movie as being a black person, and you're like, wow, you're like, wow, because I felt that. In the 80s or 90s, whenever it was, I watched this movie for the first time. I was like, wow, he actually did that, and didn't die. It was just an amazing scene. And that's something you never seen on screen at that time. A black man standing up to a white man, whether he slapped him in the face or not. Just the mere fact that he stood up to him is something that was unheard of, and you needed to hit that out the park. You needed the right actor to nail that role, and the only one is Sidney Poitier, because Sidney Poitier is that type. He was that type of actor. He just talked like this. He just had a way. It just felt like you got smarter talking to him. He just talked with this type of eloquence that was I don't think he was doing it on purpose, because I read a story. I don't know how true it was. That's why I didn't include it in his bio or not. But I read a story of how he was born 3 months premature, so he developed kind of slow when he was a kid, and that kind of affected his learning ability. He really didn't learn proper English until he was older. And his speech pattern, what helped his speech patterns when he joined the American Negro Theater, so he can, build up a confidence in his speaking. And that's how he talked. To know that he wasn't English wasn't his first language, of course. So he just, it just brought a new level to this man's greatness, to his talent. And for him to stand up there, this stern black man, this guy that's, he's not typecast as your typical black character around that time, the butler, the slave, the shoe shine boy at the station. No, he was a detective. He was what other than the chief, he was the highest ranking person there, and that's in Mississippi, in the Delta. And that just stuck with me. And I loved it. I loved this story. This movie, like I said, still holds up. I can't do it justice by talking about it. The film has a lot of things that you wouldn't realize happened. Quincy Jones did the music for this film. The great Quincy Jones. He produced albums for Michael Jackson and, the countless of. I'm not even going to go to the list. But he is a well-known producer. And he did the music for this. And he did the song for In the Heat of the Night, which was performed by Ray Charles. And it was another added nugget to this film. When you dive into the TV show is good, but it doesn't have the impact of this movie. This movie, it goes places that you can't go on TV, quite honestly. And so, for that reason, this movie is better than the television show, in my humble opinion. And I give In the Heat of the Night an A+. It is a classic. It is a cultural significant film. I think if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure everybody has seen the television series. I don't know anybody who has not watched at least one episode of this show. Please, if you haven't seen the movie, go see. Find it somewhere. It's somewhere. Find it and watch it. It is very, very significant, and especially this month for Black History Month. Yes, you probably will get angry in certain aspects of it if you're black, but it's good. It's good. It's a good movie. I loved it. Still love it. If it come on right now, I'm gonna watch it. I love this movie. Yes, In the Heat of the Night. So yes, Sidney Poitier on January the 6th, 2022, died in his home in Beverly Hills, California. California. Good Lord. At the age of 94. His death was confirmed by Fred Mitchell, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Bahamas. According to to a copy of his death certificate obtained by TMZ, the immediate cause of death was heart failure with Alzheimer's disease and prostate cancer listed as underlying causes. I had to read that off because, of course, social media went rampant and said, oh, it was COVID and all this other stuff. No, it wasn't COVID. Upon Poitier's death, many released statements honoring him, including President Joe Biden, who wrote, in part, with unflinching grandeur and poise, his signature warmth, depth, and stature on screen. Poitier helped open the hearts of millions and change the way America saw itself. over the past, 2 years, I have not agreed with nothing Joe Biden has done. But I agree with that statement. Former President Barack Obama paid tribute to Poitier, calling him a singular talent who emphasized dignity and grace. Michelle Obama, Bill Clinton, and Hillary Clinton also released statements. Many in the entertainment industry also paid tribute to Poitier, including Martin Scorsese, who wrote, "For years, the spotlight was on Sidney Poitier. He had a vocal presence and physical power and grace that at moments seemed almost supernatural." Harry Belafonte, who he was great friends with, Morgan Freeman, Viola Davis, Whoopi Goldberg, Lupita Nyong'o, Halle Berry, Ava DuVernay, Oprah Winfrey, Octavia Spencer, Jeffrey Wright, Quincy Jones, Ron Howard, and others also paid tribute. Broadway paid tribute when its theaters dimmed their lights on January the 19th, 2022 at 7:45 Eastern Time, which is the greatest honor you can get from Broadway. He will be missed. Over the past, few weeks, it seems like all the greats are kind of leaving us now. We had Betty White. She refused to come into this year. she left us on New Year's Eve of last year. Bob Saget left, and Sidney Poitier. It was all like in 1 week. It was crazy. But you never truly miss something until it's gone. Because for years, Sidney Poitier was out of sight, out of mind. He hasn't been in the, spotlight or doing anything. I mean, the man was 94 years old. Wasn't expecting him to be in a Marvel film or nothing like that. But, he's been out of sight, out of mind. Nobody really gave much thought to it, Thought you'd have him forever, and then he passed away. Now you appreciate all that he's done. And that's for, not just for him, for a lot of people. We do that with family members you haven't talked to in a while. And then you get that dreaded phone call that they passed away or something happened to them. Now you boo-hoo crying like all the time we lost. That's basically what it is. You sit back, and he has been honored throughout his career in life. He has basically every award you could possibly get, every tribute you can get, every medal you can get for a civilian. He's been knighted. He's won every award. The dude has accomplished pretty much everything. He had nothing else to accomplish but to go see God. So there you have it. He as far as, man, he didn't get appreciated. He was appreciated throughout his life, and God bless him. I thank him on behalf of all Black and African Americans who enjoy film, who get to sit down and watch themselves on screen in powerful roles because of him, because he was the first to ever do it. And like anything, if you first impressions are the best impressions. If he would have failed at what he did, we never would have got more opportunities. So with him being as great of an actor as he is, great as a person as he is, for making choices that benefited not just him and his career, but benefited the Black community. Because that was the driving force behind some of the decisions he made as an actor, on taking some of these roles. With all that in mind, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure, and he carried it well. So, God bless you, Sidney Poitier. Rest in peace. You will be missed. You are certainly loved. And we will continue to enjoy the films that you left behind as a legacy for all of us and all of our children, grandchildren, and whatnot. 6 daughters. Out of all his accomplishments, I'm still amazed. 6 daughters. He couldn't get that one boy out the bunch. Woo, boy, that's a lot, boy. That's a lot. That's a strong man there, boy. I mean, bro, 6. But anywho's, yes, Sidney Poitier. I hope something that was said here today. If you're not a big Sidney Poitier lover or know his films or anything, look him up. Look at all he's done. I didn't touch in on a lot of the because I would have been here till August of this year, reading out all of the social, civic rights, changes that he fought for. I would have been here till forever, but he put up some great fights. He was at the march he was at the Million Man March. He was there with Dr. King in Washington D.C. Him and Harry Belafonte and Charlton Heston, believe it or not, they were there together. Yes, Moses. He was there as well, for people who don't know. But yeah, he did so much. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, it is Black History Month. And on this month, for the month of February, for Black History Month, every movie goodness of this month will feature a black film, a black filmmaker, a black history. So, in honor of Black History Month, we are going black this month. So, stay tuned for that. As always, if you're listening on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Don't forget to follow the show on Spotify. Follow us on iHeartRadio. Follow us on Amazon Music. Follow us wherever you are listening to this show. And you can look us up on social media as well at KB Radio Network. Everybody has been awesome to join you today and talk about the great Sir Sidney Poitier. So until next time, everybody, I want you to know I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, everyone, you be blessed.